200 survivors returned to Auschwitz-Birkenau today. They walked along the train tracks to honor the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the death camp. 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. The Midwest Center for Holocaust Education tells us about 100 Holocaust survivors live right here in Kansas City. And one of them shared her story with 41 Action News anchor Lindsay Shively.
In her tiny tailoring shop, through the needles and thread, 94-year-old Sonia Warshawski weaves friendship with lessons from her past.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. When I came out from this terrible hell, I could not talk about it for a long time.
Until one day on the radio, she heard about Holocaust denial.
It was just an awakening for me, like a thunder to my brain in saying, Sonia, this is the reason you survived. You cannot keep quiet.
And she hasn't. This Holocaust survivor has shared the horror she witnessed for years for those who can't.
The SS was using the dried, skulls to play soccer. Yes, sir. And this is a human being?
75 years ago, on January 27th, the Soviet army liberated Auschwitz-Birkenau, the deadliest of the Nazi death camps, where more than 1 million were murdered. Sonia was taken there one day after watching her mother walk to her death.
The women, they were going to the gas chamber, and in the row, I recognized my mom holding together with another lady from my hometown. This was the last time I saw my mom.
At Auschwitz, Sonia says she narrowly escaped selection for the gas chamber twice from Joseph Mengele.
Each girl, what she knew, that he put her number, that she will go to the gas chamber.
The Nazi doctor was known as the Angel of Death.
And already you had to take off your clothes, and you hold your little bundle of clothes. And I noticed one room, and there were bundles of clothes till the ceiling. And I was sitting, and I knew I will not go through, because the way already I looked. In one split of a second, I ran into this room, and I hid myself real down to the bottom.
Sonia says a guard came looking for her and others, digging in the piles of clothes with a bayonet.
And I tell you, it was but that far I could feel his bayonet. My heart was going, I'll still never forget like this. And he missed me. He missed me. I have to believe in men to be.
At the next selection, there was no place to hide.
And I was putting, like this, color on my face, to look like I'm still, And let me tell you, here I'm holding already my bundle of my clothes, and he holds me back. You can imagine, a split of a second, he was asking me how old I am.
Sonia said she lied, that she was much younger, and he let her through.
Auschwitz was the pinnacle of the Nazi system. It was the biggest camp, it was the most modern camp, and it had the factory-like killing facilities.
When Auschwitz was liberated, Sonia and most of the other prisoners had already been sent on a death march to another camp.
And it was a death march, believe me. They were running us like cattle. The bullets over us.
They were in such a hurry to evacuate ahead of the Soviet front that they grabbed the people they could and they forced them out and they left.
More than 7 decades later, Sonia continues to share her story, not just for the murdered millions, but for our future, as long as she can.
There is a great deal of concern about what happens when the survivors are not here to tell the story themselves.
It can happen again. I shall never forget, I shall never forgive, but I'll never hate.
Lindsay Shively, 41 Action News.
Sonia survived 3 camps. It is impossible to tell you everything she went through, but we do have extended portions of our interview with Sonia and another local Holocaust survivor right there at KSHB.com.